Hi, welcome back to Aetheral Space 10.12, the Ribbon of Time. We are back. How are you?
Rip. I'm good.
You can
Thanks for
tell I'm
asking.
so much
How are
calmer and more serene. Havoc has come to an end, so I don't have to plan it anymore. So
you? Yeah.
all that brain power is now gone here.
I know you have your own thing you're gonna run, but if I do run something, as much as I think it would be cool to run something I'm more familiar with, I kind of want to run an Aetheral Space tabletop really badly.
Wow.
But the only systems I know that it could work for, other than Fate, are too complicated for you. I don't know. I'm not saying that to insult you, but just I don't want to overwhelm you with rules.
It's okay. I don't know what numbers are.
But enough of that.
Enough about that.
Right now we're here now in Aetheral Space. Do you want to give us a little recap last time?
So last time, Muzazi walked in on Gretchen, who was there with the bleeding out Morgan. But as Gretchen attacked, Muzazi was protected by Ionir Yggdrasil.
So Morgan's not dead yet; he's just bleeding.
We do not know.
So one might say that she's made an hourglass of his blood.
Sure.
It's ticking, Muzazi.
But meanwhile, Hans he thought he was going to be broken out by Noel, who was his sponsor who broke him out of prison originally. But it seems instead he got eaten by a giant old face, little Smith, who came out the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh, what was his voice again?
Which Smith?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have any lines, but he's like a nice grandpa kind of voice.
Nice grandpa. I was remembering, what was the character I compared him to?
I don't know.
There's a character I compared him to, and you were like, "That's exactly it." I can't remember who now.
I don't remember.
Whatever.
I know that you said that, but I can't remember who it was.
All right, let's do this. I mean, we reference anime every 2 seconds. We're bound to let some slip through the cracks.
Exactly.
That one of Blades looked down at the corpse of the little trader girl. She was maybe 8 or 9, lying face down in the dirt, her dress made ragged by branches and stained by mud. The hole in her throat that one of the blades had opened was still oozing sap. If she was not already dead, she would be soon. That one of Blades...
You're going to get tired of that real sick if you do that. I'm going to tell you right now.
Alright. I didn't know if you wanted me to read it different to emphasize that it's caps or not.
No, you don't need to.
This was the distant past, of course, but it was also happening now. To a fell beast like Ionir Yggdrasil, there was little distinction between memories and the present. Both of them existed within it in perfect detail. Wait, hold on. Okay, memories in the present. It folded back the span of years and existed as it had back then, during the Rising. That one of Blades had killed this girl. She had burst out of the brush, doubtless fleeing from other fell beasts through the simpleton forest, and had run right into that one of Blades. It had speared a branch right through her neck, almost on reflex, before she could even scream. Why had it done that? It was a thing that had to be done, its soul said, full of bitter malice. For a slave to strike its master? Unforgivable. To wipe them out entirely? Grounds for extermination. None can be spared. The soul spoke in a different voice than that one of Blades, the voice of an old man, but that was only natural. The fell beasts had been created by the gene noble Zenobia, the arboreal guru, and his genocidal will lingered on in them. He, long dead, had made them out of spite, designed to strike back at the galaxy centuries after the extinction of the gene nobility. That one of Blades did not feel any particular way about that. It had been made for a purpose, and so it was only right for it to fulfill that purpose. It was bound by promises, after all. So wait, if I'm understanding, one of the Blades killed a girl, not him.
No, this is him. This is his memory.
Okay, so he's that one of Blades.
Yes.
Okay, I got a little bit confusing for me, my bad. Sound. A bellow from that one of thought, encoded with a detailed battle plan for the other traitor settlements. It wasted no time. Orders were received and understood. The fell beast shifted form, becoming a sinewy mass of vines and leaves, tendrils pulling it along by the simpleton trees, swinging with more speed and grace than any monkey. It would be at the designated location within minutes. Once there, it would kill and would then advance to the next location to kill. This was existence. This was life. Once all the traitors were dead, there would be time for further contemplation, but for the moment nothing existed save for the killing. Time unwound. That one of Blades was planted in a great jungle, on another world, surrounded by brethren and simpletons. They had expanded themselves, becoming great sturdy trees, their roots intertwining as they exchanged information. That one of Blades watched the devastation of the human city from 1,000 different viewpoints. With the current state of affairs, that likely would be their last attack. It had no opinion on the matter. This was the thing that had to happen. "How many have you killed?" that one of Shadows asked with the slightest trace of pride. "I have killed 295 traitors. Have you killed less or more?" That one of Blades responded. "I do not count these things. Why do you? It is unnecessary and extraneous." "Have you killed less or more, though?" that one of Shadows persisted. "I would like to know how many traitors you have killed. I have killed many." It was strange, given that they'd all been the same at waking, to realize that the fell beasts had become so different from one another. The pride and bloodlust that emanated from that one of Shadows was something entirely new. Perhaps this misplaced individuality was why the fell beasts were now on the verge of dark destruction. "We will all die soon. There is no point in counting," that one of Blades replied gruffly. A tree could not scoff, but the intent was still communicated clearly. "I am not the sort of thing that dies. I will continue to live forever, and kill more and more traitors. Do you think that I will die? You are an idiotic one. I dislike you heavily now." That was clearly not the answer that one of Shadows had desired. Well, he's got his name spaced out in caps, so that means he respects him, yeah?
Well, yeah, because he's fell beast.
Damn. Had desired. But that one of Blades had no mind to give another. It was focused on other matter. I wonder if he's now lowercase in that one of Shadow's mind. He's earned desire.
Absolutely.
When they had left the bunkers...
Lowercase and no spaces.
Damn, that one of Shadows. That one of Blades. When they had left the bunkers, there had been thousands of their brethren by their sides. When they had arrived on this planet, there had been hundreds. When they had attacked the settlement, there had been dozens. And now they were 4. The element of surprise had given them victories in the beginning, but the might of these traitors was far beyond what they'd expected. Their greater thinkers had been able to discover the wisdom the enemy used as a power source. But wait, so they had Aether first?
Well, the enemy is the humans.
Yeah, but they said discovered... Oh, so they got Aether from them.
Yeah.
I see. But understanding their strength did nothing to reduce it. That one of Blades recalled the sight of the traitor leader, a giant of a man in cape and loincloth, holding over his head a weathered sword that could devour a world. That one of Blades had not understood terror before that moment. "What will happen when we die?" asked that one of Crawling, always the most curious of them. "Will there perhaps be an afterlife? Are you aware?" "I will not die," sneered that one of Shadows. "You are a stupid one to ask this. Why are you so awful? I dislike your question." There was a mighty creak as that one of Contemplation, forming the relay for their conversation, shifted its bulk. Needs to be the other. It's
different because it's a tree, actually.
Shut up. It's not what it is. That one of Blades felt itself come under the commander's attention. Wait, who's talking?
That one of Contemplation.
"You are distracted," it said, only to it. "You are uneasy. Why?" That one of Blades answered, "Because we will soon die." "Yes, we will soon die. It is not a terrible thing, though." "How is dying not a terrible thing?" that one of Blades asked, confused. "We will cease to exist. There is nothing worse." "We will not cease to exist," said that one of Contemplation. And for a moment there was concern that the commander had grown as delusional as that one of Shadows before it elaborated. "We are alive now. All we must do is remember the times when we were alive." "The memories will vanish." "No," that one of Contemplation said firmly. "They will not. I must ask something of you, as you are the strongest that remains. I must extract something from you." "What?" "A promise." Time shuffled forward, dancing and unhinged. Flashes of combat, wood striking wood, vine strangling vine. Fire poured over such vulnerable forms. 4 fell beasts had gone into that clearing, but only one remained. That one of blades had destroyed the others with its own hands. It had promised, after all. Oh, so now he's going to carry on their memories and he's going to go rogue. Oh. That one of blades was found by the traitor warrior that had pursued them so far, the golden swordsman who had slain the most ferocious among them with but a flurry of slashes. The fell beast came to understand fear once again as the swordsman stepped out of the undergrowth, his sword drawn. The golden visor flicked around as he took in the scene of devastation. 3 fell beasts destroyed, and 1 still living. The gaze returned to that one of blades. "You did this?" the traitor quietly asked. It knew the gestures that the traitors used to communicate. It nodded. The visor continued to flick around, inspecting the space, clearly anticipating some kind of ambush. Wise. That one of blades would have expected the same thing. Finally, though, the traitor seemed satisfied that he would not be killed. "Why?" he asked, and again his voice was so quiet. That one of contemplation had emphasized this. This was the most important thing. If that one of blades could not do this, then all was lost. If that one of blades could not do this, there was no reason they had ever lived at all. It was difficult to dumb down its communication to such a degree, but that one of blades managed it. With one wooden finger, it sketches out words in the dirt beneath it. The traitor watched, engrossed, and read, "I want to live." "Is that the truth?" the swordsman said. That one of blades nodded deceitfully. After what it had just been forced to do, the idea of living longer did not hold too much personal appeal to it, but it was necessary. It understood more than anything that it was necessary. Dread crawled through its consciousness as it looked up, awaiting a response. The swordsman knew that it was lying. Instinctively, accurately, it understood that. This traitor knew that this was a deception, that one of blades pursued its own agenda in doing this. All the same, though, the swordsman sighed, and with surprising strength pulled that one of blades up to its feet. "If that's the case, then," the swordsman said, "there is much for us to do." The ribbon of time was pulled, and past became present. Ionir Yggdrasil swung through the function room, avoiding the blasts Gretchenhael was firing from her bracer. It understood the function of her armament well. It froze space in an area that she designated, and she could use that ability to form a barrel of sorts to compress and fire air. It was capable, then, of both attack and defense. Even understanding that, though, Ionir Yggdrasil could not stop moving. As the bracer fired in a straight line, the golden arrows tracked its movements, creating a dual attack. Its arms had stretched out into vibrant green vines, enhancing its mobility, but that was the most it could adjust its shape. Anything further would enter the realm of the monstrous. Frustratingly, it was bound by promises. Atoy Muzazi took advantage of the opening Ionir Yggdrasil created, charging in and striking at Gretchenhael, but she simply created another barrier, repelling his attack. The screeching of the sword had stopped one of Ionir Yggdrasil's vines, had wrapped... Wait. I'm so sorry. I missed the colon. Blah, blah. The screeching of his sword had stopped. One of Ionir Yggdrasil's vines had wrapped around the blade, holding it still. Half of the arrows pursuing Ionir Yggdrasil broke off and pursued Atoy Muzazi instead, distracting him as he was forced to repeatedly bat them away from himself. Gretchenhael held her arm out in burning orange... Sorry, my eyes. I can't see too well.
The sparks of the battle are flying into his eyes.
I put my, my sleep mask on a little too tight last night. My vision's been kind of blurry. It's, hard to read.
Wake up, Darnell.
Let me go put my glasses on. I'm so sorry.
You can't see without your glasses, guys.
I can't when I squeeze my eyes too much when I go to bed. Alrighty. It's a little bit better. Gretchenhael held her arm out, and burning orange wisdom ran along it, coalescing into yet another armament, a twin-sided hammer with sparks of electricity dancing along the handle. She waved it, and the floor tiles around her turned a bright yellow. Some kind of booby trap, perhaps? If they made contact with the floor, would they be harmed? It was difficult to say. At any rate, Ionir Yggdrasil understood the path this battle was taking. Gretchen Hale had far greater versatility than either of her opponents. If the current state of things continued, she would win without a doubt. The ribbon of time reeled back, and that one of blades saw battle from long ago. Roughly halfway through the rising, as the ranks of the fell beasts had marched upon the final settlement of their walking planet, towers burning and houses reduced to rubble, the sounds of screaming, the slick puddles of blood. Back then, that one of blades had been surrounded by others of his kind, taking different forms depending on need. Some were small enough to crawl under doorframes, and others seemed as big as the sky. To the people of that city it must have been a nightmare come to life. For that one of blades back then it had been nothing at all, the fulfillment of biological impulse. With one of those forms it could end this fight in a moment, but it was bound by promises. The ribbon danced once more, and time danced with it. That one of blades, taking time to master the wisdom it had come to understand from observing the trader's green sparks flowing across its body as it developed its single ability, the extraction and preservation of memory from biological material. On some level, had it understood even then what would be required of it, the ribbon writhed. That one of shadows had fallen first. It was the practical thing to do. It was a hostile thing anyway, and would have resisted it if it had seen the attack coming. That one of blades had injected it with the proper toxins at a moment of wavering concentration. That one of crawling had gone next, begging for its life, providing arguments for itself to be spared. It did not believe when it was told it would not die. Then at last there was only that one of contemplation. It did not resist. Why would it? "Remember us," it commanded. "That is your duty. Promise now." All of them were bound by promises. "Yes," said that one of blades. The ribbon twisted. Ionir Yggdrasil looked down at the corpse of the little trader girl. Time had turned it to forgotten bone, a skull protruding from the muck. But that was all that was needed. Tendrils snaked out from Ionir Yggdrasil's feet. The ribbon writhed. Ionir Yggdrasil landed behind a toy Musazi and seized him by the collar, preventing him from charging at Gretchen Hale again. The swordsman looked up at it, bewildered. It was not surprising. No doubt he did not understand why Ionir Yggdrasil was helping him in the first place, much less stopping him now. Gratitude was not a thing that Ionir Yggdrasil could explain. As it turned one arm into a shield to block Gretchen Hale's incoming shots, it pointed to the open door with the other. A toy Musazi furrowed his brow. "You want me to go on ahead?" As usual, his frank understanding was a virtue. Ionir Yggdrasil nodded. It had no eyes, but its attention was locked entirely on a toy Musazi's face, and perhaps he could feel that. He looked away, closing his eyes, and nodded before running for the door. "Don't die," the swordsman said. That was not something that was up to Ionir Yggdrasil. Traders really were foolish. "Bad play, beast!" called out Gretchen Hale from her firing position. "You could barely handle me 2 versus 1. Do you realize you've just signed your own death warrant? Hell, do you even understand what I'm talking about?" Of course it understood. What a strange thing to say. On the other hand, it seemed that Gretchen Hale didn't understand. She didn't understand how promises worked. The positioning was all that mattered. Oh, is he changing so his memory of promising to not become a beast will be later, after this moment?
Perhaps we'll see.
Ionir Yggdrasil charged. Oh, man. Can I popcorn it to you?
Sure. Blasts of air pelted its body, tearing free chunks of bark and arboreal sinew. It flew off behind it. Still, it did not stop its advance. It could not. It was bound by promises. Even as Gretchen Hale blasted it again and again, and even as arrows drilled into its back, Ionir Yggdrasil did not so much as pause. For the first time, uncertainty crossed the face of the adversary. Fiery orange wisdom spread across Gretchen Hale's back. "Starship Oberon!" she cried out, and a void black cloak appeared on her shoulders. A second later it flared out into 2 solid sections, becoming a pair of massive furry wings that elevated the traitor woman out of Ionir Yggdrasil's range. The fell beast skidded to a halt, rumbling in annoyance. With Gretchen Hale being up there, right now, it would be difficult to get into the position that guaranteed victory. Gretchen Hale could just stay near the ceiling, firing down continuously until Ionir Yggdrasil was defeated. It was not an aerial fighter. It could use vines to get up there too, but once there it had little confidence to be able to act as needed. It dragged a finger across the ribbon of time. "Remember us," that one of contemplation had said so long ago. "Remember each one of us that has fallen. Take our memories and remember on our behalf. There is little difference between a memory and the real thing. Find all of us that you can and store us deep inside. Hide us until the day a memory can become a reality again."
Oh, is he going to become that one of contemplation or another one? That one of shadows, perhaps?
Oh, well, that one of blades had done it as it was bidden. Each fallen fell beast it had found, it extracted the memories of. crushing them down to as small a size as possible so as to ensure it never ran out of room. The consciousness of its people dwelled frozen in its mind, waiting for the promised day when they could live once more. But that was not all. The ribbon of time stretched back. Every dead thing it had ever seen, the child it had slain, the victims of the fell beast that had littered the ruined cities, every enemy it had ever vanquished, every comrade it had never saved. It had taken the memories of all of them, storing them with weight for the day where there would be no hatred. The only one that had gone uncollected was Nigen Rush, but it supposedly made sense.
Oh no! What do you mean it made sense now? What do you mean?
But this was not the time for that. Now was the time
for
victory.
Hold on. Time out. I believe this is the time for that. What does it mean it made sense?
Ionir says it's not time for that.
Musashi Nigen Rush confirmed? It's been confirmed, guys.
This is not the time for that. Ionir Yggdrasil, that one of blades, seized the ribbon of time and dragged it to where it was needed. The promise that had been made. It needed to be sure. In that past, Ionir Yggdrasil and Nigen Rush had stood on this very ship, the Child Garden, looking out at the sea of stars. Nigen Rush had been quiet, as he always was when forced to say something he was uncomfortable with. Finally, though, the words that had stuck to his throat were released out into the world. "I must ask you something, my friend," Nigen Rush said quietly. "Something outrageous. May I?" Ionir Yggdrasil swayed slightly, and Nigen Rush understood that for the affirmation it was. He continued. "There are figures in the body in the military who are unhappy that I spared your life. That, on its own, I could deal with, but they are keen to use the memory of the fell beast as a way to besmirch your name. Humans cannot abide things that are unlike themselves. It would not be besmirching, for any accusation made would be true, but Ionir Yggdrasil did not correct its superior. I must ask you then," Nigen Rush took a deep breath, "I must propose that you refrain from taking on the form of a fell beast, that you maintain the humanoid shape that you have now. At the very least, that you do not assume a monstrous form in front of other people. If that is done, I think I can hold back their knives. Can you do that?" Ionir Yggdrasil nodded. Nigen Rush looked up at it. "Can you promise?" A long pause, then another nod. "Thank you, my friend." That was all that was needed. It was confirmed. The route to victory was clear. Ionir Yggdrasil shredded the ribbon of time between its hands and settled firmly in the present. With green wisdom it launched itself upwards, legs becoming stilts for a moment before exploding from the force. Ionir Yggdrasil flew towards Gretchen Hale like a bullet, its destination clear. With its vine-like arms it latched onto the ceiling, pulling itself up even faster. It was little more than a blur. Gretchen Hale, still flying, held out her metal bracer and froze the space in front of her. A cocky smirk spread over her lips. No doubt she thought she had won, and ordinarily she would be right. If Ionir Yggdrasil had been moving in the way she had anticipated, its body would have smashed against that impenetrable barrier and been destroyed. Which was why it did not move in the way she would anticipate. It flew right past her, striking the ceiling instead. For a split second, Ionir Yggdrasil was outside of her range of vision. Do not assume a monstrous form in front of other people.
In front!
That was the promise Ionir Yggdrasil had made, and it was bound by promises.
We love our literal autism fell beasts.
Right now, however, the only other person here was Gretchen Hale, and it was behind her.
Oh! We're not going to get a description of what it looked like, but I'm just imagining, like, it's like that moment, like, at the climax of the fight where she thinks she killed him and he's behind her, and then, he starts to expand and the screen goes black and we just hear screaming.
No.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The end of Gretchen Hale's human life proceeded in the following fashion. She looked behind her. She did not have the time to do anything else but that. She looked behind her and she witnessed. The humanoid form that Ionir Yggdrasil had always previously assumed was gone. Instead, there was a great mound of bark and vine, 16 legs, each the width of an oak tree, securing it to the ceiling like a great wooden spider. It grew even as Gretchen saw it, consuming nearly the entire ceiling, its shadow falling on the function room below. It was not done. The back of the thing tore open like a maw, revealing a veritable garden of plant life inside, grass and branches, smaller trees and bushes, and at the centre of it all, a massive red flower, as if it were a great eye regarding Gretchen for the first time. She gaped at it, frozen for a moment, and that was no surprise. Not a soul had seen something like this since the Fell Beast incident. So, for that single fatal moment, all she could do was stare up at that eldritch beast. To describe what happened to Gretchen Hale next, in detail, would take far too long and provide little benefit.
Shit!
All you really need to know is as follows. A massive vine slapped Gretchen out of the earth, shattering every bone in her body. The crater she made was not much to look at.
Oh my god! Could every fell beast do that, or is this just because he's the goat?
Well, he's one of the strongest ones.
Oh my god, that one of blades! More like that one of based. Oh my god. What the fuck? Ionir Pog!
Can I have popcorn for this bit here?
I'm soying out right now. I love Ionir Yggdrasil. He's so cool. What a great design. Everybody clap for Tanhoney in the comments. That was cool. I loved that. Ionir Yggdrasil flowed down the ceiling, its form as fluid as its creators. Yet somehow more vibrant. Gretchen Hale was utterly forgotten, like a wreath had crawled down the wall and across the floor before it reached the entity that now occupied its attention. It looked down at the little traitor boy. Morgannocht lay in that drying pool of his own blood, his skin deathly pale. He was not breathing. If he was not dead already, he was right on the verge of it. Ionir Yggdrasil's tendrils snaked out to receive the memories that would serve as a testament to its comrade, but it paused. Was this really all that could be done? Even if it had broken free of the commands that Balte Kojiro and Gretchen Hale had given it, was taking from the dead all that it could accomplish? There would always be corpses. Nothing had changed. Whether it made them or found them, nothing had changed. The tendril twitched uncertainly in the air. There was a way. A genetic memory bubbled up inside it, but there were risks. If it went wrong, both of them would die, and even if it succeeded, Ionir Yggdrasil would be forever diminished. Was it willing to risk that? Risk the memories inside it for a single person? What will you do? Negan Rush asked, the sculpted memories rising up again. Oh my god, he's even inside Ionir! He's in the collective unconscious, y'all! No. The proper thing would be to do as I have always done, Ionir Yggdrasil replied. If I take his memories, there is the possibility that he can live again, in another format, in another day. But would that truly be him? Memories are subjective. They twist with the telling. You understand, don't you, that these are not accurate records? I would not have said this. Ionir Yggdrasil slowly nodded. Yes, I understand this. You understand that they are all dead? The truth was merciless. Yes, I understand this. They are all dead. This is a fact. Half recollection, half conscious, the thought process called the Negan Rush struck the blow. Then will you be the one to enact that fact once again? Ionir Yggdrasil shook its head. No. No! Negan Rush disappeared back into the vaults of memory, and Ionir Yggdrasil adjusted the course of its tendrils, snaking them towards Morgannocht's open and toxic wounds. Sparks rained from the ceiling, the room damaged by the battle that had taken place. Gretchen Hale's blood slowly ran down the walls. And there, in the dim red emergency lighting, two became one. Ionir! Dude, oh my god, if Morgan gets Fellbeast powers even diminished, oh my god. Morgan can be all like, I never made any promises. So what exactly, is his Aether just remembering things? I thought he was going to twist the memories around to get around promises.
Well, he just takes memories from material, that's all. That's his only Aether power. Everything else is just him.
Can he take memories from objects? Is that a thing?
And it has to be a living thing. Or a thing that was living.
What about an auto brain?
No, it has to be biological.
Gotcha. That was cool! I love Ionir. He's cool.
He was never actually going to have this big of a role, but as I've written him, he's become, the main character.
He's become amazing. When is he going to get some fan art is now my question. Or even a Tanhoney MS Paint drawing. I'm curious now. Oh, I love Ionir. Alright, well, fun facts for Aetheral Space. Wow.
Fun facts. Give me a topic at least.
Why don't you tell us more about, I already forgot his name, but the Gene Tyrant who made them, Zorio, or... I'm trying to scroll up and find it.
Zebonia, I believe it was. Zenobia, even, sorry.
Zenobia, yeah.
So he was one of the last Gene Tyrants to die in the Thousand Revolutions. He fucking ran for it, near the start, hid out in a remote star system, where he sort of saw the writing on the wall. He's like, fuck this, I'm just going to make lots of fucking trees to fuck them over later.
Because people will be like, oh, they're just trees, and then they'll go kill people.
Exactly, yeah. So they were in hibernation, just like an ordinary forest, and then one day they just grew arms and shit and started killing.
I think it's pretty crazy that like Gene Tyrants couldn't use Aether, but their creations, even Ionir could. It wasn't even limited to humans necessarily. I wonder why, if like any Gene Tyrant ever managed to get its creations to wield Aether in its favor.
Perhaps.
Like what might be regarded as traitors. I had a cool idea. I told you about this for my fan fiction that may or may not ever continue. Of like a Gene Tyrant who uses Aether because they like store a person inside of them and then like manipulate their body with like themselves to like make the Aether, like force the Aether to activate, so to speak.
So it's like using the person like a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, interesting. I love hearing about Gene Tyrant lore. I love world building in Aetheral Space. Also, because it's like a galaxy-wide thing, it's like it's like Star Wars, where it's so ripe for you to add your own OC lore as long as it doesn't contradict things. Oh, I love this universe so much. Thank you for writing Aetheral Space as always.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I really do. I love this series so much, and I try to get everyone to read it, and no one will read it, and it drives me insane. It's so good. All right. Well, enough of my laments. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.